Hey, everybody. Wait, before Matt gets started, I just wanted to say, Fry, thank
Jared's been muted. Go ahead, Matt.
I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Crypto Comics Couch podcast, where we take everything comic related and break it down into bite-sized pieces for you guys. Today we have the legendary Shaun Keenan. How you doing, man?
Good, mate. Good. Legendary. I like the sound of that.
Well, I mean, you are kind of a legend in this industry now. I mean, you're winning just tons of awards. You got so many books coming out.
Fry is your fan. You made it, man.
you know some cool people, which is why I hang out with you.
I think that's why everyone hangs out with me.
Oh, no, cool people. It's probably those bathtub rewards, right?
Yes, exactly.
I forgot about that.
He loved that. He loved that reward.
I'll bet. That would have been something.
Well, Fry's going to like the reward that we've got coming up with the other actor that we're going to talk about today, but we're going to do like a video gaming session, so you can play against that character who is the character in the video game, which is kind of cool.
That's very cool.
So what happens if you beat the character? You become one?
Maybe. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
You heard it here first, right here on Crypto Comics Marketplace. What?
This is what happens when you promise stuff on live to air. It's like you go back to it and you're like, oh, did I say that? Oh, whoops.
Whoops.
So today's kind of
so many times
is a graphic novel more difficult to produce than a regular comic? Do you kind of want to go over what a graphic novel versus a comic book is?
Yeah, well, a comic book is usually a 22 to maybe 32 page single issue of a comic. It's usually part of a larger story, where a graphic novel is either an independent story by itself or a collection of single issue comics collected into one graphic novel. And that usually tells either a story arc or a story to a certain point, and then can be read by itself or as part of an ongoing series.
Okay.
What do you like best?
From a collecting side of things, graphic novels. because I just think, being able to, especially if you read a lot, single issues just gets really hard to kind of collect and everything like that. But from a collectible side of things, I always like those one-off type of things. So whether that's like a foil cover or a virgin cover or something like that, and that's always usually done on a single issue more than a graphic novel. I don't really see them kind of go out and do all of that type of stuff on graphic novels. But yes, awesome accent. Which one? Whose? Mine?
Yours, of course. Don't even play, buddy. We
John's
all are
from
in love
Brooklyn.
with your accent.
Well, thank you very much. So I'm
He's
pretty
married.
normal here.
He's
So
married,
it's,
guys. He's married. He's taken. Trust us.
Yes, and I just had a daughter, so she's only six weeks old, so she's in the other room having a little bit of a sleep at the moment. But super,
congratulations!
Thank you. Super excited, Daisy Claire,
new daddy.
Her name. So,
that's awesome.
Super excited about being a dad again. So
great.
Been a lot going on this
Totally.
ride.
Yeah, I just when they start rolling their eyes and talking back, it's so precious.
Really?
Yes.
The talking back part totally sucks. When they don't talk at all is awesome. When they're like goo goo gaga and you're like the center of their world and they don't know anything else and they never talk back and they think you're the great and you say, guess what? And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And you're like, that's right, I know everything. And then they grow up.
Yeah, and then they don't find you funny anymore. You get Dad. Oh, Dad,
and you try and talk to them and their friends, and they roll their eyes and act like you're some kind of old creeper, and you're just like, "I'm Dad. What the hell?" You know.
My older daughter Peaches, she's like brutally honest. Like we'll be having fun in the car, singing and everything, and then we'll get close to school, and then she'll be like, "Okay, Dad, I'm having fun, but please don't do this around my friends." I'm like, you're 6 and you shoot me down already. Like, seriously, I know I don't have a great voice, but it's, So
see, that's when I lean into it and like I am going to embarrass you, whether you like it or not. I remember dropping my daughter off at school, standing out in front of the school, yelling like, "Don't kiss boys, stay in school," and like she took off running and everybody else was looking at her and kind of pointing and snickering. And I was like, I've done my job.
Well, as you can see, like I'm the biggest white boy, but here I am in the CRV with the windows wound down, with regulator pumped up as loud as it can be. Past the school saying, "See you, Peaches," with Warren G blaring.
Nice.
I love having kids. Yes, congratulations, man. Congratulations. Thank you so much. A fantastic father, an incredible husband, from what we hear, and an amazing comic book creator who, now you do comic books and graphic novels, right? You do the spectrum. And anything recently that's happened that we might want to know about?
Yeah, well, we've been super busy on this side of the world. So we've done 10 Kickstarters over COVID. So we've been releasing something every 2 to 3 months. But we've got currently in production, we have Night, which is a brand new graphic novel with an actor called Martin Copping. So he was a voice actor out of Call of Duty Vanguard. He was also Zombie in Zombie Hunter with I can't think of his name, the guy that's always out of all of the Quentin Tarantino films. But so we've got a graphic novel coming out with him. We've got a spin-off graphic novel coming out called Aquila, and we're super happy with that. That's a spin-off from the Fractured Shard series with Dan Furigel. And not that we meant to go out and do it, but we've got a full female creative team on that one. So we're really excited to showcase that. We have a tie-in graphic novel with a film franchise called Occupation Rainfall. So all those people that haven't seen the Occupation movies, there's 2 of them. You can check them out on Netflix in the US or on Binge here in Australia. But we're going to have a tie-in graphic novel in between 2 of their movies, which is very cool. We've got volume 3 of Fractured Shards coming out, which is another graphic novel. We have a remastered version of XCT Monsters that is almost done. We've got issue 4 of the 13th Labor, issue 2 of Talos of Sparta, and a couple of other things that I can't even talk about yet. So we've gone from being like a small little release one comic here and there to something that's more of like a publishing house. So been a big couple of years.
So is there anything that you're not doing right now?
No. I even pitched at what we call the Melbourne International Film Festival, which is one of the biggest film festivals here in Australia. So we pitched a couple of our projects for film and TV opportunities. So we're just kind of waiting to hear back on a little bit of that. So I might have to come on in a few months to give you guys the lowdown of what's come out.
Dude,
that is nuts.
You're like an indie comic god. Holy shiz.
What did I say? It's all about the hustle, man. All about the hustle.
It is all about the hustle. Yeah. It is all about the hustle, but it's also all about the strategy.
Yes.
You know, and your strategy has been impressive, just impressive. You know, we got to know you right around the time when it felt like you were making that transition from really small indie, doing it for passion project, into like, I mean, you really are moving in a direction of this is your future, this is your company, this is you, like, you're owning it, man. That is so fantastic, Shaun.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, you talked about at the beginning of the show, like between comics and graphic novels, and we started out just doing the single issues, and a couple of our series we still do that, but our business model a little bit has been to get that book distribution rather than comic distribution, so that we can sell into like a mainstream bookstores and everything. So we tried not to just pigeonhole ourselves with comic book stores, which is really let us be a little bit more mainstream than a lot of other indie creators, because I think we kind of do the diamond and everything. Now there's a few other ones, but that was the be all and end all in regards to getting your comics out there. So trying to flip that a little bit with the book distribution is something that we've kind of changed and tried. But always still love getting out those number ones on anything that we do that's new.
Oh yeah. And people like collecting them.
Yeah.
I love that you're producing all this stuff. You still manage to find time to, have the family and I'm assuming sleep. It's just
he has a baby. He
ain't
getting no sleep. He ain't getting no sleep.
No sleep. I woke up this morning.
He's like, he's taking a nap. Let's get this show done and over with. No.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you might see me later, my hand might just do this. It's just rocking the cradle. But I woke up this morning and I felt absolutely horrible, to be honest. It's been a couple of days of little to no sleep, but I've got an amazing wife. She does a great job in regards to doing most of the nights, and we try and swap over every couple of days so that she can have a bit of a rest as well. But the last couple of nights, she's just wanted to do party time at about 1 to 5 o'clock in the morning. So sleep during the day. It's like, no.
See, I was always good at waking them up. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'd be like, if they sleep during the day, they're not going to sleep at night. So let's wake them up. And my wife would be like,
no.
I'd be like, oh, sorry. I just want
Sorry
to play. Yeah, for 5 minutes, and then I'm off. I'm distracted. Squirrel.
So I think I'll just kind of, as you said, kind of squeeze as much as I can into the time that I've got, but also make sure that I set some time aside for the family where I don't, look at my phone, don't answer emails and all that type of stuff, because very easily working from home and those type of things, you can fall into the trap of just working 24/7. So if I'm going to sit down and watch like the new Lord of the Rings that came out last Friday, and that, like, I try and go, okay, I'm going to put my phone away and everything, and just take an hour or 2 hours to myself and as well, and do that type of thing. So it's just about, I guess, making sure that you prioritize certain things and take time for yourself as well at times.
I don't
That's
slap
awesome.
like that, Steven. I just want you to know. I know that that's a traditional slap like this, and I give more of a slap like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's been miscategorized.
All right. Just to be on the safe side here, no, Jared does not smack his kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Matt. Jiminy Chris, I didn't even think about that. That's locked, and everybody's like, "Oh, he beats his kids."
Yeah, we need a disclaimer down the bottom here. Can we just put that down? Like, yeah.
God, I hope
Matt
people know
does, though.
that.
Matt will hit his children. I've seen it a few times.
No.
Crazy.
Nobody on this show hits anybody. We are peacemakers, peace, love, and we love the
actually,
hippies.
if you look at Matt's hands, there is evidence of.
Oh, Matt, let's see your hands.
Bruising. Knuckles.
Did you break your fingers on a door while swinging something? No, I'm just kidding.
Why you
Tell
gotta
us
bring
what
that
happened,
up,
Matt. What happened,
No.
Matt? What happened to your pretty little? Are you turning into a cyborg?
No. I had an incident with a electric scooter. I will say
Ooh,
that.
what
And,
size? Was it a 50cc or 100cc or?
That would be a
25?
gasoline engine or a
Yeah,
diesel engine.
it's an electric scooter.
Oh, so 20 volt, 30 volt, 40 volt. Sorry about that. Well, what
Hey,
does
Jared,
it run?
I'll tell you this. Do you remember when you and I went to Salt Lake and we were riding those little bird scooters?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one goes about twice as fast as that.
Ooh.
Or it would if you weren't Matt size.
So Matt, were you
Hey, this
trying
is
to do a
Shaun's show,
Tony
not
Hawk
mine.
trick? Were you trying to do a Tony Hawk trick? Tell
And
us
I
the
would have
truth.
succeeded if it wasn't for those pesky kids.
Ooh, and the dog. You hit the dog, didn't you? You hit the dog, didn't you?
No, the pavement.
Oh, road rash.
What were you saying earlier, Shaun? It was temporary Australian, is what you call it.
Temporary Australians, yeah, that's what we call people that ride motorbikes and scooters here. Because
You know what we call them here?
What?
Freedom. That's what we call them here.
All right,
I don't think that's true, Shaun.
I wanted to ask
It's
you, when it comes to like graphic novels and comic books, is there a genre that kind of lends itself better to either the graphic novels or the comic book, the typical comic format?
No, I don't think so. I think it's how it's written. Is what lends itself to what format. So, if someone is trying to tell a real large scale, like say Lord of the Rings style story, that would fit more as a graphic novel, because you can tell more of that in a single volume than you could in a 22 to 24 page comic. Like, you try telling even the start of Lord of the Rings, you'd literally do the intro and be in Hobbiton before they even left, and like there's no real hook then on them just leaving the town. So, I think with comics, it's really important. Two things is that page turn. So you're when you're writing, making sure that whatever panel is on the bottom right hand side of your comic is either a question or a cliffhanger, because that makes the person turn the page. And that's the same thing with the end of a single issue. Is you need that either splash page of, oh, this is about to happen, or something that people straight away go, oh, I want the next issue. Where graphic novel, you can kind of get away with just finishing the story. I always like to leave it as a little bit more of a cliffhanger. One of my favorite series is Sons of Anarchy, and they do that cliffhanger every episode really well, type of thing. It was like, you would watch one and go, oh, I have to find out, and watch the next episode to find out what happens. And then something happens in that one. You're like, I have to watch the next one. And it keeps you, that hooked that whole way through that whole series, where I think a lot of, TV series kind of fail to do that. They'll have an episode end, but don't kind of set up the next one. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll wait until next week and watch the next one. So yeah.
Bev had a question for you. He says, quick question as to word count is what he meant. How many words does a normal graphic novel run? Would you know an average of like what a?
Well, no, because again, that's how you write. So if you've got a Quentin Tarantino graphic novel, my God, the word count on that would be up in the thousands, because he loves his montages and everything like that. Even The Walking Dead, like, you look at Negan, like you would have they usually say in a panel that you don't want any more than between 20 and 50 words is the industry kind of standard. But then there's those comics that break that mold, and you're able to do that if you're a really good writer. So you've got Neil Gaiman that does that with The Watchmen and that type of stuff with dialogue, and then The Walking Dead the same. There's a lot of, but you have to be able to keep people's interest if you're able to do that much dialogue. And Negan is a great example. With people just go, oh, he just swears a lot, but it's actually the way he goes about it and adds those swear words in that makes it impactful, and you continually wanting to read type of thing. So
okay,
that probably didn't answer the question, but
no, I'm
actually
reading this thing that Kevin Smith was basically talking about the same thing. And he was like, oh, you want, to keep it condensed. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that. So every panel is like a giant monologue.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you, Shaun.
That also goes well depending on how good your artist is in being able to tell a story. Because if your artist is able to set up that monologue in its surroundings or what is around the person, everything like that, then you don't need to kind of describe everything, or you're able to shorten that dialogue. But if it's just a blank thing with nothing in the background, well, then you need words to get across that point. So it just depends on how you kind of look at things. I'm a very visual person, so all my writing is more around the art side of things and very little dialogue. But that's just the way I kind of write. So yeah.
Okay. Looks like Steve has a question here. It says, Shaun, I'm a horror author, and I would love to get one of my books turned into a graphic novel. How would I go about doing that, and how much does that usually cost?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot. So I actually have several authors that have come to me over the last 12 months looking at exactly this, turning their book into a graphic novel. And a lot of the times they're doing that as a proof of concept to be able to then pitch it as a film or TV series. And the reason behind that is that if you're able to go to a producer and visually show them exactly what your book could look like, it's very different than handing them a 400-page book and go, I'll read my book and I'd love to make this into a TV series or a movie. So I'm getting this question a lot. For me, I'm gonna talk Australian dollars, which is about 25% cheaper than US, just because that's where I'm based and that's where my funding goes. But a single comic could cost up to about $8,000 for a 22 to 24 page comic if you're paying a really good artist. Now, for me, I've always been a real stickler for high quality work, so I've always tended to pay that little bit more to kind of get someone that is of a high caliber. So I would budget 8,000 Australian dollars to kind of make a single issue comic. The best thing with a graphic novel is because you're giving an artist so much work. So you're giving them, instead of 20 to 24 pages, maybe 60 to 80 pages. Sometimes you can actually negotiate that page rate down because they know that they're guaranteed a certain amount of work, type of thing. Mm-hmm. They might be able to push out a single issue in 6 to 8 weeks, where if they're doing a graphic novel, they know that they're able to do this work over three months and actually get paid. Like, I usually kind of try and do a fortnightly schedule for my artists. So it's their normal job. They know that they're getting paid X amount of dollars every fortnight. So for that, I kind of budget about $15,000 to $20,000, and that will depend on colors, amount of pages, and then printing costs, which are the things that are just killing us at the moment. So again, I've ran 22 Kickstarters now, so that's a lot of the way that we kind of fund these type of projects. But if you haven't ran one before, I would say you need to put skin in the game, which is your own money. Get it to a point where it's almost completed, and then go to Kickstarter and see if you can recoup back as much as possible, and see if you've got an audience there for it.
I like
well,
that.
Jared's been texting me. It looks like his laptop may have overheated on him, so we may not get him back. And just to let everybody know, I've been muting myself during the stream just because I've got roommates deep into a very difficult raid. Making sure some of the words that come out of a gamer's mouth in those situations are, a little rough. So.
Right.
Andrew Dodge comes in over on Twitch, though. I'll let you take it, Matt.
Andrew Dodge comes in and says, industry standard says graphic novels run between 20,000 to 75,000 words.
Wow, that's way more than I would have thought.
That's Jared before breakfast. What are you talking about?
Could you imagine having a job where you had to dictate Jared for like an hour?
No.
Dude,
no.
It'd be like working for Shaun. Only your whole year would be filled up just before breakfast.
They should make that a prison sentence.
Oh. Jared, if you're watching this, it's true.
Yeah. We can rip on him now. He can't defend himself. I like this.
I love it. Yeah.
We just do that while he's on the show normally.
Not true.
We don't get the chance to. I can't say a word.
You just got to be more aggressive. You got to be more assertive. The only way. Vav comes in on Twitch saying, no, did answer it well. I read digital novels, so I wasn't sure if a normal novel could be done in that format due to the length, if they were made in novellas, or if they could handle a 50 to 80,000 word book. Let's see here.
It always just depends on how like how much you want of that story you can tell visually. Again, because I'm reading one at the moment, and the first 3 pages I could actually condense down into 3 or 4 panels, because it was just describing where they were. Where in an image you can just draw that as one image. So it kind of just depends on the actual book itself, on what you can kind of do, and how much of that is real important to the storyline, and how much you can kind of go, I tell you what, we can kind of cut out this little part. It doesn't really matter that much, or we can move that to another part of the story later down the track and show that as a flashback or something like that. So,
All right. So I have a one question. Usually, when working with an artist, there's a few issues that. How do I want to say this? A few issues where the working dynamic isn't quite there, like right off the bat, but you do kind of get into that groove together. With a graphic novel, when does that about start?
And when will it start with me working with Matt here? Because it's been like 3 years, 4 years. We're still waiting for that.
You should still be in the honeymoon period, mate. I think that's all down to how you communicate with others. A lot of the times before I go into a really big project with someone, I'll do a 10-page story with them, and really get a gauge of how we work together. So how do they accept any feedback that I provide? How how do they stick to a schedule? All of those type of things over about 10 pages, and then I'll make a decision to go, okay, yep, that person responded to my questions within a day. They made the edits within 3 or 4 days. They delivered on time. I want to work with this person. And then there's other times where, and look, stuff comes up in people's lives, but you see like that they are unable to hit deadlines. That there's a lot of excuses that kind of come through, and I'm like, okay, we're only 5 pages in, and it's taken me 6 weeks to kind of get these six pages. If I'm going to give you a graphic novel, like this is going to take a year to do. So that's kind of how I do it. Sometimes it costs me a little bit of money to kind of work out who I'm going to go with, but once you have that feeling that you're going to work well together, then it pretty much is a really quick process. We talked about Aquila, and that was one of the quickest projects I'd ever worked on. Grace, who wrote the story literally within a month, did edits and feedback within a week. We got the artist in, and I was like, can you do the first 10 pages? She literally did all 30 pages, 35 pages in a month, made all edits that I wanted within 2 days. And then the same thing with our colorist. I was like, we made that whole graphic novel in 3 months. It was like the quickest and easiest project that I'd ever worked on. I was just absolutely blown away. So it kind of, just you get a little bit lucky sometimes with the people you work with, or you find people that are really passionate about the project and they're willing to go above and beyond to kind of get things done as quickly as possible.
Okay. Now, Aquila was the one that it's all females, right?
Correct.
That you were working with on that one? Okay.
Yeah. So that we didn't set out deliberately to kind of do that. It was we've been working on Fractured Shards. We came up with this really cool character, Aquila, but I've got so many projects on the go. I didn't really have the time to kind of write it, and it was literally one of the fans that said, I would really like to put up my hands and have a shot at it. And one of the other guys that I work with, Stephen, he's like, well, let's give it a go. If it's no good, well then, it's no skin off our nose. We'll just pay for the script and that's it. So she wrote that. We got it back and went, wow, this was totally not what we're expecting, and it's fantastic. We love it. And then I just had put a random shout out for artists on a Facebook group. Deborah, a Italian artist, reached out to me and said, "Oh, my schedule's opened up. I can do it fairly quickly." It was within the price range that I was looking at. I got the first 3 pages back and went, "Oh my god, I absolutely love this art style." And she just happened to have a colorist that she usually works with, which was female. And before you knew it, we'd had an all-female cast, which was really great because I actually didn't realize, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and I've literally only worked with three women in the industry before this project, and probably upwards of 100 male creators. So now I'm just kind of a little bit more aware of being a little bit more diverse when we're talking about what creators we use, and especially what projects that we're producing, that we have those people represented in our creative team as well. So
okay.
Well, we have a question here from T3 over on Twitch. Are you hiring writers?
Not at the moment. We have opened up submissions on our website. So if you head over to comics2movies.com.au, we have opened up our submissions. We are taking a little bit of time to get through them, and that the only reason behind that is my wife was sick prior to my little girl getting here, and then it's been a little bit crazy in regards to life with a 6-week-old. So we will get around to everyone that has submitted already, but the one thing we pride ourselves on is that we will not take any of the IP from away from the creators. So you can submit your books. We only request the publishing rights, because being independent creator, I know that is the most important thing, is that you hold on to that intellectual property. And I know you guys at Crypto do the same thing with the books on your site, and I wanted to make sure that was a point of difference of us, is that yes, we want to make money. Yes, if it gets turned into a TV series, we hope we would get brought along the journey with it. But I feel like that's more about having a good relationship with the creators, that they want to bring us along, rather than saying you need to sign a contract and give us X amount of the IP rights or whatever. So yeah.
So when somebody's submitting something, do you want a full book? Do you want a script? How does it work with artists?
Yeah, so at the moment we're just doing completed works. So just because we just don't have the funds behind us at the moment to invest in a creative team. But if someone had a really good story and a team, as I said, we've ran 22 successful Kickstarters. Like, we may look it down, going, okay, we need you to invest this much amount to be able to get it to Kickstarter ready, and then let's help you run a Kickstarter and fund it that way. But we definitely need to see at least the first 5 to 10 pages to kind of get a feel of what it's going to look like and that type of stuff. And then maybe down the track, when we're a little bit bigger, we'll have the opportunity just to look at scripts and all that type of stuff. So yeah.
Now, you've also found comics on I want to say other websites and stuff like that, and actually have taken them through Kickstarter and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, so actually Kickstarter. So there's been a few projects that I've backed myself that haven't been successful. A lot of the times it's not because of the story or the artwork or anything like that. It's actually because they don't have an audience, or they don't know how to market, or they've kept this amazing project secret. A lot of the times people were like, oh well, I don't want to show too much of the story before it gets released and everything like that. And I was like, well, how are people going to know if they like it if you don't show them what the story is about? You need to, you need to show them more than just the cover. You need to show them, some really cool panels. You need to show them some of the writing on what characters are saying, so they can actually get a feel of the project and build up that excitement. So the 13th Labor was one of those. I've had no creative input for that. That was had failed on Kickstarter. I reached out to the guy and said, I absolutely love the story. Would really love to help you get it made. We've ran 3 successful Kickstarters for that already. We're just about to fulfill the digital rewards this week, and then we'll have the 4th one out early next year as well. So which is kind of cool to it not being made to almost being halfway through the miniseries now.
That's cool. So speaking of Kickstarters, can we show this other one that you have coming up?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, you can show all of them. So we've got a few coming up. So this one's really cool. So this is Night. So it's based in an alternate Earth kind of reality where there's only 4 hours of light a day. So kind of like, think your pitch black type of thing. So we've got the main character is based off the actor Martin Copping, which is really cool. This is part of an idea he'd come up with, and practically all the animals on the planet, because it's so dark, have become like nocturnal predators, and humans are the prey. So
that sounds a lot like living with my kids.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
That's so true.
And it's very much that old English type of 1800s, where it's crossbows and spears and that type of stuff, not guns and futuristic type of thing. So and it's really exciting. It's really cool. We're already almost 3/4 of the way through that whole graphic novel, and we're really excited to release that and partner with Martin's company, which is New Leaf Pictures. So the idea of this is being able to provide, as I mentioned before, a proof of concept to then maybe get this turned into a feature film or a TV series down the track.
I love the artwork. And T3 comes in and says, looks beautiful. Nobody's Illusion says, wow, looks amazing. And I have to agree with him. All right. So let's see. Operation.
Sure. Wait. Hit this comment real quick.
Go ahead, Fry.
Stephen comes in over on Facebook saying, I've never written a comic book script before, but how would one get into that? I do mostly short stories anyways, so it might be similar, just more dialogue.
So I guess literally if you just Google comic book scripts, there's heaps of different ways of doing a comic book script. But I first started out by just having a look at how other people did it, and then kind of took bits and pieces from that, and then kind of designed my own template that I use now to do it. So I used to be super descriptive at the very beginning in regards to, I want this here and he needs to be, facing this way and all that type of stuff, where now my scripts have barely any words in it, because I feel like, the reason why I'm hiring an artist is because they're good at what they do. So, unless it's super important to the story, I just want them to have fun and do what they kind of do. So I actually am not as descriptive as I used to be. But again, that depends on how important certain things are to the story and everything like that.
See, I've worked with some artists that were like, I want to know every little detail, and they were like, you didn't add the lighting, and I was like, well, it's if you read the story, it's noon outside. What do you think they're
So,
gonna do? You know, and
yeah.
others were like, oh, I want a thumbnail script or a thumbnail page to go along with it, and I'm like, dude, what the hell am I hiring you for? You know.
Yeah, I've only ever had that once, and I was like, dude, I'm like shocking at drawing. Like I can barely do stick figures, and you're wanting me to do like kind of a thumbnail of how it is. And so I tell you what, sometimes like I really like how artists will do the paneling. Like I'm such a and as you can probably see behind me where my posters are, everything needs to match up and everything. So I can imagine me doing thumbnails would be like square box, square box, square box, square box. You know, it'd be so boring rather than, there's some really cool and dynamic panels where they do, a triangle across the page or, they do a panel over the top of a larger panel. So it kind of spreads out over, over two panels because a panel's over the top. Like I would not kind of visually be able to kind of do that. So yeah, I have had that once, and I just went, oh look, and also I was just like, I just don't have the time to do that type of thing. I need to have someone that's able to kind of do that all themselves, and I think sometimes that is the difference between having someone that's been in the industry a little bit longer and paying that little bit extra versus being able to work with someone that's a little bit cheaper that you can kind of coach through the process type of thing, which we did do at the start of our career because we were like, we just didn't have the funds. So Terra Lumpus, a Singapore artist who is absolutely phenomenal now, Von Randall. Like he's gone from strength to strength. But, that first graphic novel that he did with us was the first thing he'd kind of ever done. So it was about coaching him through going, okay, that panel is not on the right angle. The shadows and the anatomy there isn't quite right. And just coaching them through that. But it just depends on where you are in your career and how much time you've got, whether you're able to do that.
Okay. All right. He comes back in and says, Steve comes back in and says, fair enough. The video series I'm doing, I really want to make into a comic book series, but I also trust whoever I hire for whatever part to communicate their needs from me.
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you handle like kind of the fighter action scenes? I mean, do you just kind of sit back and let your artists kind of do their thing and be like, okay, you got 3 pages, have fun,
literally the last script that I did had fight sequence page 38 to 42. Enjoy.
That's awesome.
That was
that
it.
would be wonderful as an artist, though, to get something like that.
And they just went how to leather, and then it was literally like at page 41, I was like, last panel needs to, and then described what the last panel needed to, so that he could lead up right? until into that point. But the artist literally just sent back like laughing emojis when he read the script. It was like enjoy it, and there that fight sequence, I have to say, is probably one of the best things in XCT that was in that XCT breakout graphic novel. It was just
those sequences were so good in those books. Like every book in that whole XCT series, fight sequences are like pinnacle in that. It's one of my favorite. Vav comes in over on Twitch saying, is that a fear of rejection of their work after the effort, or just not comfort with the style? I think he's referencing here your earlier comment about sometimes needing to focus on the creator that you're working with, the artist.
So is there fear of rejection of their work after the effort, or is it just not comfort with their style? I think there's a little bit of sometimes there's the not comfort of their style. So sometimes you'll see a pinup that they do, and that's not necessarily how they'll draw internals. And it's like, okay, what I thought I was kind of getting compared to what I did get is nowhere kind of close. So sometimes there's that. And then in regards to fear of rejection of their work after the effort, I think sometimes there is a little bit of, they've put a lot of effort into their work, and for someone to come back and say, "Oh, that's not up to standard," or "That's not what I like," that kind of hurts sometimes. And unfortunately, in this industry, comic book industry, you need to be really resilient. And I try not to sugarcoat things. I don't try and be rude, but I need to be really open and honest when I'm providing feedback, because I don't want to then be paying for a 60-page book that I'm not happy with. So, and then sometimes, people, when they get that feedback, take that really well. And they're the people you go on and continue to work with. And then other times, you can tell by the way they react to that feedback that you're like, okay, it's going to be hard to kind of provide you any feedback in the future type of thing. And I can kind of understand that, because as I said, no one wants to kind of hear that the work that they've put in is not what you want to see type of thing.
So with your location and working with creators, I mean, historically, you've kind of worked with everybody all over the world. What is the preferred method of communication then? Is there advice that you would have for, different social media platforms or anything like that you could be using?
Yeah, so for me, I use like StreamYard for video conferences. So if we're going to get down and do a brainstorming session, or if they don't understand something via the script and they need clarification, from a video point of view, we'll use StreamYard. So that's one app that we use a lot. Two is if we're just talking back and forth, we use Facebook Messenger 9 times out of 10 for that type of thing. And then we use either Google Drive or Dropbox for all of our files. So, both of those applications are great in regards to, Google Drive. You can see who's editing what, which is great because and marked with different colors and that type of thing. And then with Dropbox, if there's, large files, videos, artwork, all that type of stuff, is really good to be able to use those features. So they're the ones that I use a lot. And then kind of your email and that as well. And then PayPal for payment methods. And if they're in Australia, sometimes we'll do a direct transfer, but most of the time I'll do PayPal for all the payment side of things as well. So again, it's easy for them to be able to do invoices and all that type of stuff with just the generic function there. So thank you.
All right, Jared, I'm gonna have to beat him. He comes in and says, "Shaun is my hero." The other two are okay, I guess. And that is why Jared is not currently on the show right now. I'm kidding.
We had to put him down. Too difficult to house train.
It was like a rabid dog.
Dude, he gets excited and he piddles all over the office. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead and read that.
Oh, you want me to read it? All right. Val comes in and says, of course, you shouldn't pay for what you don't want. I was just asking if that was why they may have wanted more direction up front. Thank you for helping me see. Man, I really need my glasses. They're upstairs. Where you're coming from, I can understand more now why some of the artists I've dealt with have asked for more direction than I've provided.
Yeah, it is. It's if they ask for that direction up front, that's great, because then what they are expecting in regards to be able to give you what you want. But then it just comes back on you in regards to, do you have time? Do you have the ability to kind of do that type of thing? So yeah, it's I've worked, as you mentioned, before, like with artists from Italy, Spain, the UK, Singapore, America, Russia, Australia, New Zealand. So everyone works a little bit differently, and artists have their own style and how they like things. I really always just start that conversation after we've kind of agreed to work together. How do you want me to provide you that script? This is what I've got, but let me know if you want me to provide it to you in any other way. With some scripts, we'll do photos of people that we want them to look like. So, rather than just, this is the character, this is the age, this is their hair color, we'll actually provide a photo reference to say, okay, we want them to kind of look like this, put your own twist on it, so on and so forth. So, asking up front always helps. Like for XCT, I've been working on this for 7 years. Yes, we've had a couple of artists, but a lot of relationships don't last that long. So this is a real collaborative type of thing. So you need to be really open and honest up front, or else it just won't kind of work.
When you provide like an artist any kind of notes, or anybody you're working with any kind of notes, are those notes like kind of these are my commandments, this is what I want, or do you kind of give the artist the chance to say, no, I don't really think that'll work, and maybe even plead their case?
Yeah, so both. So sometimes we'll do like written notes going, okay, this is really important. Why? And it'll be like, okay, we're putting that in now because in Act 3, it needs to be in there. I know it's not important to you, but it's important to the storyline. So, my mate Stephen, who does a lot of the writing on the projects that we do, he's really good at adding things into the background that you might not notice. But then if you went and read back the series, you'd be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. He puts it in here, but it's payoff in volume 3 or volume 4 type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we've had a lot of that type of thing. So like, oh, I've missed it, but why is it important? There's other things where the artist will be like, that doesn't work because he's actually read the rest of the script. So I've just got actually one today. He's like, Spartacus is handcuffed, yet you've got him grabbing the guy in the next panel. So I've actually, so I was like, oh, what's this thing that's like hitting Spartacus? Like, that's not in the script. And he's like, oh, I've drawn a door, like the character's thrown a door and it's hit Spartacus and it's broken his cuffs. Because then on the next, and I was like, like even I didn't like kind of pick up on that in the script. So there's that. And then there's the other side of it, which a lot of the times we do with our colorists, is where we will take a screenshot of the color and we'll just draw on the actual page and go, okay, this needs to be fixed up. Shadows need to go here. That type of thing. So depending on who we're dealing with is how we kind of provide that feedback.
Okay.
Jared comes in with a Jaredism for the day. Thanks, Jared.
Appreciate it, Jared.
All right, guys. Well, we're up to about an hour now, so we can close this out nice and quietly without Jared freaking out and screaming. Shaun can go back to work, making good comics. I can go to bed.
This show just seemed to fly by.
They always do with Shaun. Every time.
We're having fun. But if you can shoot out those links to people, and if they want to follow up the Kickstarters along, Aquila's going to be the first one we launch, but all 3 of these projects will be launched before the end of the year, which is super exciting. So yeah.
All right, so yeah, we got Aquila in the chat, and
Yep, we
then
got all three of them in there.
Occupation Rainfall.
Yeah, and that's a really
Nice.
cool movie as well. If you haven't seen it, it's Australian films are notoriously low budget, but the first film, Occupation, feels like that a little bit. But the second one, Occupation Rainfall, which, as I said, is on Netflix in the US, the graphics and everything on that movie for what their budget is absolutely phenomenal. Type of thing. It's a really good action sci-fi movie, and super excited to kind of be a part of that, being able to play in someone else's sandbox as well. It's usually people playing in ours. It's a good opportunity to be able to play in someone else's. So yeah. Too nice, mate. You're a superstar.
Are there any gold labels before I let you go? That's what I need to know.
No, because I haven't been back to the US to get any of those. So if I head over in November, I might take a bunch of stuff and sign them or remark them and get some stuff. But as I said, like, we're gonna try and do a little bit more of some interactive stuff. So with the Occupation one, I don't know whether I should say it on here live.
Go ahead. Feel free. Go ahead. But
we're going to try and do
before you do, let me just do this here.
We're going to try either a set visit or a maybe a background in the movie or something like that. So something that's
like a cameo
really cool in regards to being a part of an extra or whatever. So just working out how that's going to work and like when the Kickstarter is and when they're filming, to be able to work out that type of stuff. But it's kind of cool to come and try and think up some different rewards moving forward.
That's awesome.
Love that.
All right. Well, and as mentioned at the top of the stream, everybody make sure you guys go and find Comics to Movies and Shaun Keenan across social media. It's easiest to find them at Comics to Movies. I can tell you that personally. But make sure you follow them. Make sure you follow those campaigns that are there. Keep in mind that when you follow and share out those campaigns on your own social media, it's a huge help to Shaun. It helps him with his marketing. It helps his team. It helps show social media that people actually care about indie comics. I mean, all across the board. So if you guys could do that, that would be a huge, huge solid. And then while you're at it, of course, like, subscribe, do all that with Crypto Comics because we're friggin' awesome.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
So thank you again, Shaun. I really appreciate when you come on, man. I really do. Sorry,
thanks for having me, guys.
Love it.
It's been a while, so super excited to see you guys and catch up with you guys again. So
hopefully pretty soon we'll be hanging out a lot more often. So
fingers crossed.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself again before roommates in the background screaming about spawns. I'm gonna get shut down. Somebody's gonna swap my house.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for joining us and take care.
Look at how shiny that head is.
Why
I just can't get over it.
Come back
It's
to me,
so
man?
great.
Why